everyone does pyrotechnics like Reform. And on May the 7th, across this country, there are going to be electoral pyrotechnics, the likes of which the other parties won't know what's hit them. You know, on a cold Friday evening in early January, to get a turnout like this in London is something that no other political party could do. And that's because, yes, of course, we know that Britain is broken. We know nothing works anymore. We know our politicians have been hopeless, led our country into decline. But we're not here because we're miserable. We're here because of one four-letter word. Not that one. Well, it could have been. No, we're here because we are providing something that none of the others can. We are providing genuine hope for the people of this country that we can turn things around. Now, on the international stage, the year has got off to the most extraordinary start. Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, was a very, very bad man, and his removal is a good thing, and well done, America. Well done, America. I mean, his illegitimate rule led to no fewer than 8 million people fleeing Venezuela. That's even more that have left Keir Starmer's Britain. Although I do worry at times our Prime Minister has similar, not the same, but similar authoritarian instincts. But what is going on right now in Iran is something that should give us great thought. Back in 2015, President Obama, the European Union, the British Foreign Office, and then later on Boris Johnson and all the rest did a deal with this appalling, evil regime that has been there for 50 years, that has continued their theocratic, appalling, barbarous rule. And I want to say this to those brave men and women out there on the streets of Tehran and elsewhere now, fighting to get back their freedoms, their liberties. As far as I'm concerned right now, long live the revolution. I pray for the Persian people. The Persian people are wonderful people. They're great people, educated people, brilliant people. And I pray for them, for their safety and their freedom. But of course, we can't even begin to discuss global politics without the war in Ukraine. I found it quite extraordinary that our failing Prime Minister, by the way, he's now the most unpopular Prime Minister there's ever been. I'm sure there are some supporters of Keir Starmer in the room here tonight. Well, I tried. It's my time on GB News. I have to seek balance, you see. Otherwise, Ofcom will kick me off. He went to Paris, had the summit with Zelensky, had the summit with President Macron. Did you watch him delivering his speech? Classic Starmer. This shows you why this man is not fit to be the leader of this country. He stood with a sheet of paper, giving a statement, committing British troops after a peace deal to go into Ukraine for an unlimited period of time. and he had to look down at his notes every 2 seconds. Do you know when he was elected, on July the 5th, he stood outside Downing Street, delivered a 9-minute speech, and had to look at his notes 158 times. We're led by a man who frankly believes in nothing. We're led by a man who doesn't have a goal, a vision, which is why he gets blown around by events. His 12th U-turn is going to be on the pubs. Mind you, I quite like his U-turns. He's not a leader. But he said he was the head of the coalition of the willing. But who else was there with him? Macron, Starmer. Where were the Germans? Not going to commit to anything. Where were the Italians? Giorgia Meloni was out the back having a fag. When we went into Afghanistan in 2002, on day one, there were 18 countries committing troops and money and resources. By the end of the Afghanistan campaign, 51 nations had taken part. This coalition of the willing, this commitment to British troops, and bear in mind, in 14 years of Conservative government, our armed forces were hollowed out in what I think is the most shameful way. The coalition of the willing isn't the 18 that went into Afghanistan, isn't the 51 that served there in the end. It's 2. It's us and the French. And frankly, and this matters, because if we do get a peace deal, I do not want an under-resourced, an undermanned, an underfunded, an under-equipped British Army going into a mission of indeterminate length at massive cost, when frankly all we've got are our friends, the French, with us. But it sums up Starmer. He thinks of everything in terms of the international order, in terms of what do the others think of us. He's even prepared not just to give away the Chagos Islands, but to pay to give away what's already ours. And now, despite manifesto commitments, he's now doing his best to give away our parliamentary sovereignty, to give away your rights as voters, and to betray something that will enjoy its 10th anniversary on June the 23rd next year. The Brexit referendum. You remember it, the greatest exercise in democracy ever exercised in this country. And despite everyone telling us we'd lose our jobs, we'd lose our houses, plagues of black locusts would descend on our country, we told the establishment where to go. We voted to leave. We voted to take back control of our own country. A huge, historic moment. The trouble was, the Tory government just never believed in it and didn't fully deliver it. In fact, in terms of the millions that voted to control our borders, the millions that voted to reduce the numbers coming into Britain, what did we get? The opposite. The very opposite. At the peak of the Boris wave, net 1 million people came into Britain in the space of just 1 year. And it's a betrayal for which the Conservative Party will never be forgiven, and that is why we're here. We are replacing the Conservative Party. Oh, they might hang on for a bit, but they're done. They're done just in the way the Liberals were almost exactly 100 years ago. But Starmer is committing us to everything. The Erasmus programme, which means more European students come here than our students can go there, when we have the Turing programme that we're sending our students all around the world. He's committing us to a European energy policy. I thought our own net zero policy was mad enough without more coming from Brussels. Bit by bit, he's taking away the ability, not just of our own Parliament to make decisions, but of your rights as voters to decide who should take those decisions. And I promise you, we will fight this giveaway, this surrender of our sovereignty, of our money, of our fishing grounds, and everything else, and we'll fight it tooth and nail. We'll fight it all the way. But in many ways, it's worse than that. Two-tier Keir. What is he? I can't say that out loud in front of all these people. The situation is so bad. We are led by people with such craven cowardice. They are not prepared to stand up for the values that made this country great and the values we need to bring back that matter, which is why we stand for family, community, and country. That is what we're about as a party. Family, community, and country. We've given in. We've given in to the hard left lobby. We've given in to the extremists. Things have got so bad that we learned today that the United Arab Emirates will no longer sponsor their students to come to Britain for fear they'll be radicalized by the Muslim Brotherhood or other bad forces. That is how low we have sunk as a nation. And what about this city? David Bull gave the best history A-level lecture I've heard for many a long year. But actually, you've only got to go back a couple of decades when London was booming, wasn't it? London was thriving. London was a place that companies from all over the world wanted to come, set up headquarters, invest. It was a trendy, great place for young people to come, an amazing cultural centre. But what is it now? Looked down upon by much of the rest of the world. In an epidemic, a crime wave led by foreign gangs of epidemic proportions, and yet a police force who seem more concerned about what you may have said, sir, on Facebook than what is going on the streets of London every single day. May the 7th this year is the single biggest electoral test this country will have between now and the next general election. None of us know when that election will be. It doesn't have to be till 29, but my guess is that another couple of years of Rachel from accounts. You know she was a senior economist at the Bank of England for 10 years, don't you? Talk about low grade, goodness me. Another couple of budgets like this and the markets will get them out. I think the election will come in 27. But either way, May the 7th is huge. May the 7th is huge. All 32 London boroughs will vote. The whole of Scotland will vote. The whole of Wales will vote. And much of England was supposed to be having a vote. And now we learn that up to 10 million people may be deprived of their vote. In some cases, for the second year in a row. These are the actions, not just of a Labour government, but with the connivance in some counties of the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats. Denying elections is the behaviour of a banana republic. And we'll know by midnight on Wednesday just how many of these elections have been cancelled. Well, I was going to save this announcement for next week, but you know what? I can trust you, can't I? None of you will leak any of this, will you? When we find out how many of the mayoral and county and local elections, districts and boroughs have been cancelled, then next Thursday we are primed and ready, and we will launch a judicial review against the government for these actions. My apologies to the press office for not saving it. I just couldn't resist it. Because that is what we're about, isn't it? We're about settling our arguments at the ballot box. That is the fundamental of democracy. We have this so that we don't fight each other. It's what generations that went before gave so much to defend that very principle. And if the others won't fight for it, we will. Now, the London elections this year will go ahead. All 32 London boroughs. And while it may be 2 and a bit years until we have the mayoral elections, there is no doubt that when people vote on May the 7th in these 32 boroughs, many will be thinking about the direction London has gone in. Many will be thinking about Sadiq Khan. But as of this week, and we've hit the ground running in 2026, as of this week, when they vote, yes, they'll think about local candidates. Yes, they'll think about local councils. But they'll also understand that this is the next big step before the mayoral elections in London. And after this week, they'll also be thinking about the excellent, bold, brave Laila Cunningham. And I really believe she's going to do the most fantastic job. The most fantastic job. Does she have the support, London, of our members? Good. Good. Well, then I've made a good choice then. But, you know, you come along to this event, and as I say, to get a turnout like this early in January in London is astonishing. But this is not, as they say, a free lunch, because I need something from you. Politics is, of course, about leadership. Politics is, of course, about policy. Politics, of course, is about principle. But politics only really succeeds when it's backed up by that face-to-face contact. Whether it's talking to somebody in the pub, whether it's knocking on doors, whether it's out delivering leaflets, meeting people in the streets, what we do as a party at grassroots level, what you can do in all your own ways to persuade other people to turn out and vote on May the 7th will make a massive material difference to how many seats we win, to how many councils we win, and to what our percentage chance of beating Khan in 2028 is. So you sitting here before me, you are the people's army. And my job tonight is to mobilize the people's army. I need you, if you haven't yet thought about it, to say, yes, I'll stand in my council in London on May the 7th this year. I will get involved with my local branch ahead of May the 7th in these elections this year. I'm prepared to deliver leaflets in my street. I'm prepared to help with a street stall. I'm prepared to help raising a bit of money. I need you to be mobilized. I can't achieve my goals. Laila can't achieve her goals. None of our candidates already there can achieve their goals unless you're prepared to help us. So let me ask you, are you prepared to commit tonight? Are you prepared to help us? Good. Well, listen. I'm now going to do the procedural bit. So, around the outside of this hall, we have the branches in London we've set up already. I will show you where to go. Please go to your local branch. Please go to your local area. Please meet people. Please commit to doing something, and I'll tell you where to go. We start over here, Greenwich. There we go, active branch already, I can tell. Lewisham, Bexley, Bromley, Richmond upon Thames, Wandsworth, Lambeth. Bit of work needed for Lambeth, isn't there? Southwark, Harrow, Ealing, cities of London and Westminster, Camden, Waltham Forest, Enfield, Barking and Dagenham, Havering, Barnet, and Brent. Right? Now, on the other side, and by the way, the fact we have all these branches set up already shows you the incredible strides we've made in a very, very short space of time. It's just that most of you here will not yet be connected to these branches, hence why I'm explaining. Over here on the other side, Tower Hamlets, Hammersmith and Fulham, Merton, Kingston upon Thames, Hounslow, Hillingdon, Sutton, Croydon, Haringey, Hackney and Islington, Newham, and Redbridge. So I couldn't have made myself clearer, could I? I want you, please, when this is over, to go to the relevant part of the room and please, whatever you can or cannot do, volunteer. We need your help. I know it sounds a bit like an evangelist meeting, but it is. No, it is. We want our country back. We know it's in trouble, and we're going to fight for it. All right? We're going to fight for it. We're going to fight hard for it. And you know what? We've now led for nearly 200 opinion polls in a row. We have a Prime Minister and a press who are sinking to the gutter in terms of their abuse. But you know what? We're not going to reply. We're not going to respond. We're going to ignore them. We're going to hold our heads high as proud British people trying to build a better future for those that come after us. And I'm confident we can do this. I'm confident we can change the future of British history. Are you? Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you.